Hank Green a bi icon now, officially, right?
He really wants to hank off a guy.
I'm gonna hank you so hard.
Hank and John Green you.
I'm gonna hank you till you're green in the face.
Hank your John till you're green.
Wait, Max, what did you say?
She Hank on my John till I green. That's what I hoped
Hello, and welcome to the Bumpy Soup podcast.
The only podcast that calls it as we sees it. Crickets are girls, grasshoppers are boys.
That's right. That's right. I'm Alec. I am here today with Emily,
Yoo-hoo.
Shane,
Fuck.
Aqua Supreme,
Bump it up.
and SLC is Patrick,
Hello.
and also our resident grasshopper, Shane.
I do all my little puzzles. I do crosswords. I'm lifting weights. I'm doing everything that I read to help stave off the progression of this disease. Stave it off. There's no cure.
Wow.
That was Joseph Smith talking about his leg.
Wait, what happened to Joseph Smith's leg?
It was amputated, right? Is that?
Oh, I remember hearing that.
Yeah, right. I know, and we never see him with a peg leg, right? I've actually thought about this before.
Do you remember? Did you ever learn in church that he had a slave and he was sealed to his slave as an eternal servitor?
Wow.
Yeah.
It doesn't surprise me.
I learned
but-
of that for the first time on TikTok this week.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So he married a black woman, and he had a peg leg.
It's a progressive king right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we're talking about representation, I really think that
Oh my God.
yeah.
Was that the taking of Deborah Logan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
I've never
was.
seen it, but I looked it up after you mentioned in the pod.
Dude, I found a copy of it on accident.
What do you mean found?
I didn't know that I owned one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
Nice.
so I believe that it was bestowed upon me by Mrs. Logan.
Right.
Yeah,
The giving of Deborah Logan.
Do you guys have strong feelings on holding physical media?
So, no. But
Holding physical media.
Like owning physical media instead of
Yes.
having it just being on streaming services?
yes.
Okay.
I love it. I love physical
Yeah.
media. I mean, fuck, I made cassettes for a long time.
Yeah.
And CDs. Like, I think that physical media fucking rules. I also think that there's something to be said about DVDs as well, and how that's kind of fallen out of fashion. But I think that having like something you can rifle through and have and own, it's sick. And specifically,
Rummage, rifle,
yeah, wommage through it.
wummage.
And shout out to the Criterion Collection for making DVD collecting sick, because they have awesome DVD sets that have, great things. Do you have an opinion on it?
Yeah, well, I mean, honestly, I know it's a problem, but I haven't really thought about it that much. Maddie is this is a big thing for her because one of her favorite shows is BoJack Horseman, which is a Netflix original,
Right.
Which means that there is no physical media about it. Which means, additionally to her, if Netflix ever gets shut down, she just can't watch it anymore.
Right.
Also, there's no behind the scenes. There's no deleted scenes.
Right.
There's none of that director's commentary stuff that they have to make on the DVDs that they don't do now. Something interesting. I mean, half of what people are nostalgic about now is physical media that was necessary back in the day, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things. I don't know if I've talked about it on the podcast before, but one of my best friends in junior high up north, his family downstairs, they had a big TV and a big couch set up, and then they had this whole closet. The entire closet was filled with little slots to put in their DVDs. Now that entire closet is just useless. They can have the DVDs there still, but they never use them.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. It just brings, I don't know. There's just a lot of things to think about with that. With should we really be giving up the physical media, even though it's easier to use these other things because of the other stuff that we're losing? But are we really going to not accept technology progressing because of coolness and, gimmicky things? You know?
I think there's something to be said for embracing cloud life, but also having all of your favorite TV shows or whatever backed up on hard drives. Not stored in something like Google or iCloud or whatever, because
That can go down.
Yeah, that can go down. Also, like house fire protection. Like we have 6+ years of film, like physical prints of the film we've collected, but also we have backed all of that up onto, I guess we haven't done it on a hard drive yet. We should.
Yeah, we
but
should.
we have it on CDs, and we have it on printed photos, and we have it in like a drive in the cloud.
And we have it in our hearts.
Have multiple backups in different locations, because if there's like an internet failure worldwide, then you lose that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But if you get caught in a hurricane or tornado, then you lose that stuff.
You know, that's an
You're
interesting
fucked.
thing. If you, if you have no physical media and you get your house burned down, you're going to lose out on like a certain amount of money from the insurance company paying for you to go and buy that stuff again. You know, all on Netflix. They're not going to pay you for a Netflix
Well, here's what
subscription.
you do is that you just tell them you have as many photos as you actually have backed up on your iPhone. You know what I mean? Like you're just like, I got like 3,500 photos in there that I just lost.
Yeah. And at 14 cents a print minimum.
Exactly. Right.
You're looking at a couple $100.
Yeah. I think what you're saying though about BoJack Horseman specifically is interesting because like I feel like so physical media is obviously came about from necessity, but now it's no longer necessary. But what that means is now it is novelty and like a thing for fans, right? Like I think that there would be people that would buy special edition DVDs of BoJack Horseman specifically, but probably other shows because they're fans of it, because they're interested in that.
I would like to say, God forbid, BoJack Horseman goes away from Netflix, right? I'm 99% sure you could go to the Bay of Pirates,
Right.
and find it.
But
Right.
again, it's the CD, it's the owning it, right?
Yeah.
So she doesn't just want to have it downloaded. She wants to have we have a whole bookshelf that's all of her favorite.
Well, then you could go to the Bay of Pirates,
Yeah.
and then you could
burn it to a DVD.
you could then go on eBay.
Fucking do like a mixtape with different shows that you like.
Yeah.
You know what? The Bumpy Soup mixtape.
Mixtape,
That's like just like every episode of like the podcast that we watch.
Oh,
we
that's
just
fun.
yeah.
Oh my
sick.
god.
Coming to a merch store near
Fuck,
you.
that'd be kind of sick. I just bought 2 different disk drives that will write discs for my PC.
Oh, cool.
You know, my office was throwing away some old computers, and I was like, well, I don't have a disk drive. I'm going to take as many as I can
Yeah.
because some of them might not work or whatever. So I own 2 of them now.
Oh, tight.
So if
Well, let's get the pirate in.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yarg. Back to physical media. I think the biggest bummer about physical media and like its lack of necessity is that you can't find porn in the woods anymore.
It's true.
You can't just go out in the woods and find a porno. Man,
Yeah, you can't
anymore.
like go onto a construction site and go in a trailer and there's like titties hanging on the wall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. And
You
I
have
think
to go to
that-
like one of the most trafficked sites in the world. Yeah.
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 You can't be like a young boy being raised in the West, and someone comes and stays with you, and he's like an old cowboy who's very angry, and then after he moves in, you like are wandering out in the woods, and you find this little like lean-to like makeshift structure, and you go in there and you like rustle some leaves around, and you see gay porn magazines,
Yeah.
and you find out that he is gay, and then
He's a groomer too,
and then
more
he
importantly.
grooms you, yeah.
right.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
And we just
Thank
don't
you.
get that anymore.
Yeah, we're,
Because of
we're
cancel
losing our way
culture.
of life.
But actually, though, kind of going along with that, another thing with physical media is like, so like with, you know, CDs and records and all that stuff. Yeah, they become kind of novelty items, and that's cool. But like written media, we have completely devalued all forms of physical written media now because in some people, I mean, for me, I like it more online. I prefer to read on my computer because I don't know, it's just easier for me.
You can't change the size of text on a piece of fucking paper.
Right, exactly. And you have to fucking hold it open.
You
and
can
all
move
that
it
shit.
closer to you though.
What do you mean?
But like
Like if you're reading the book right here, you can move it closer to you.
But like magazines now aren't even like novelty items. Well, they only exist for like doctors' offices and stuff like that. Like it's not even like people get them and they're like, oh, this is like, we don't even make cool magazines
I'm
anymore,
sure
you know?
you could go on eBay or a rare book seller and find like rare National Geographic magazines. My parents had a collection of them, but that was when print was still
and I
common.
mean like new, right? Like we don't have like zines coming out, right? Because it's like that it's so devalued that no one's gonna buy that unless it's like something Tucker does, right? Like that's like an art thing. But like other than that, there's no like major publication that's making, I don't know. Anyways, it's just
I think it's more independent is what's happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I could list off a handful of fucking sick ass fucking magazines, right? But like they're not backed by millions or billions of dollars, right? So like Broccoli Mag is a really fucking cool like high art like weed magazine. They do an issue every quarter, I believe. So for a year, maybe somewhere around there. The chick that's in charge of that was just like, yeah, I just wanted to make a magazine, and like,
that's sick.
Like we ended up, we had to build the infrastructure for our own publishing company to even make it fucking happen. And their shit's sick. Make out one of their magazines, and then there's a couple photographers that I follow that like do their own zines. Fucking Noise,
yeah,
right. I think it's a really great example as well. Yeah, but like a lot of what I am consuming is like photography specific, and the like. That's so much more obvious and like, oh, well, I could print that as a photo, right?
like a photo book type thing.
It's kind of more of like what it could be.
Yeah, and I think that makes sense. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Slug.
Oh, duh.
Yeah, but see, like how I'd like to know how profitable that is, because it's like, you know what I mean? Like that's
Not
what I'm
very,
talking
but that's
about.
not really what it's about, right?
Well, no, but that's what I'm talking about. Is like it's not like there aren't like companies out there making magazines anymore because it's so devalued at this point, because you can just read it online and you're not missing anything, you know, except unless it is like cool pictures, right? And then at that point you're buying it for I want the cool picture book, you know.
Yeah, there's something really cool about the fact though that it's like about the medium, right? Like people would be engaging with it not only because of the content, right? Because again, when physical media was like necessary, they would engage with physical media because of the content of it.
Right, you couldn't get it anywhere
And
else.
now like the having itness is like something we didn't even recognize that we would at some point not have. And,
Right.
yeah.
So I think you're right. It for sure has been devalued, but there's still a lot of opportunity for like really cool shit. It's
Niche.
just so much harder to find.
By its nature, physical media is less shoppable, which makes it less attractive to like a capitalist agenda,
Sure.
right?
Well, and even normal consumers
Which
too.
is,
Yeah.
I would say that print is maybe in its heyday for indie stuff.
Yeah.
Just because of that, there's
Well, because
less.
people aren't buying it. The only people who are buying it are people who are looking for kind of niche stuff. Yeah,
They're like
exactly,
fucking
indie
Die
stuff.
Hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's something else that's kind of interesting is like with books, because they can just be online now and stuff like that. Like pretty much if you buy a book at like a physical book, you're pretty much buying it for the cover and the thing of it, because you can get all the information other places. And that like, it's pretty interesting then that like, I don't know. What is that? I don't know. What does that mean? Is that good for society? Is that bad? Does it mean anything at all? Is it just, I don't know, interesting?
I'm
Go ahead. I
happy
have some
that
thoughts.
audiobooks exist,
Yes.
because I was not a big reader growing up because I could not focus on reading, and now I can if I want to. And that's something that I think is a blessing, but I do like to have copies of the books I read or the books that I like around my house, because I like reminders of who I am outside of the workplace, you know?
But see, it's kind of like, yeah, I don't know. What's your
So every book that I've purchased in the last couple of years, like physically, I ended up getting the audiobook version of it so that I could actually consume that book, because I don't have the time to read.
Right.
And as you all know, I love to listen to shit, apparently. So an audiobook's perfect for me, but I think that it's kind of like the same way that I approach buying DVDs or more specifically Blu-rays. Like every Blu-ray that I own is a movie that I streamed first and absolutely loved and was like, well, I'm just going to buy a physical copy of it because I fucking love this movie, right? Or I was bespoke The Giving of Deborah Logan or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So like, So I think that like for me, if it's media that I really give a shit about, I'm going to find a physical copy of it if I can. I think.
That makes sense. Well, and I think that's how a lot of vinyl sales are, right?
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
I have a couple of vinyls that I've been like gifted and stuff, but all the ones that I've bought, except for Collision, course with Jay-Z and Linkin Park,
Best one.
all the other ones are like albums that I hold in high esteem,
Yeah.
right? And I want to have them, and I want to have them in their purest form. And yeah, and I think, anyways, it's just interesting. It's just I don't know what that means for society.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's something that's really cool since having physical media is not as common. When you do have it, it's something that's kind of more special in a sense.
Yeah.
Like I remember when we lived at the Casa and our internet went out, we would have to like go to the DVDs, and the DVDs that people had would always just be very like Aaron having like a 2-disc thing with The Green Mile and Shawshank. Like he always would talk about how those were like the 2 best movies. It's just like very symbolic of like what he loved.
Yeah.
And it was kind of just like that for what everyone had.
Yeah, that's interesting. The physical media not being the main thing also, gives it this other importance, right? Like,
it's part of your story more so than streaming it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you were to listen to a record in the 70s, like you're forced to sit there and listen to it because you don't have the internet at that time, whatever, like that's what's happening. But now if you listen to a record, like it's more special than just listening to it on your phone, and you're probably going to force yourself to sit there and listen to it, which is a different experience than what you'd have otherwise. So that makes it a little bit more special in some ways.
Yeah, I think there's an intentionality built into it now, in the physical media in general, right?
Yeah.
It's so much more on purpose than like out of necessity. I think.
I prefer the worst quality personally.
Yeah, yeah. I'm looking for ultra compressed
140p.
MP3s.
I go on YouTube and I set it down in quality.
You know what? There is something to actually be said about that, which sounds crazy, but like, I've mentioned this before. But there's a Brian Eno quote that talks about how like people's nostalgia for mediums is the flaws of it, the things about it. And I think that there is going to be nostalgia for like, I mean, there kind of already is for like old shitty like digital stuff. Like, like
you're seeing it right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially like, you see demakes. I don't know if you guys know about like demakes, where people will like take current video games and remake them in like the style of PS2 graphics.
Oh, sick.
Like there's a famous one that I watched this thing about. It's a Bloodborne demake. And
holy shit.
They make it look like that shitty PlayStation 1 graphics.
Yeah,
It's fucking crazy.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, it's really rad. It's so rad that the indie community is picking up on that. And I think that that's just kind of going to be something that happens with media no matter what as we move forward. And I don't know if I've talked about this, but I think that a thing that we're experiencing right now that we're going to find that with is current generation, or even like last year's generation of AI video or AI images. You know how they like look a certain way?
Oh, people are going to start trying to rip that off in like 20 years.
Right,
You're
because
saying?
you won't be able to do it. Like
Right.
AI will be so good, you
Oh
won't
my
be able to
God.
get this shitty, like kind of shitty version of it.
Yeah.
And so people will want that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
There's something to that.
I've been thinking about. I'm really excited because we've been working at Jazzy's doing sound, me and Meg, and
Blues Cats?
Blues Cats. Yeah, rest in peace. No disrespect.
Rip.
And it's just cover bands every time, right? Which like is cool. It brings out people that have money and that want to drink, which is exactly what any restaurant, bar, venue would want, right? And I just can't fucking wait until I'm 60 years old and I get to go to the bar and there's some motherfuckers doing Phoenix covers.
Yeah,
doing
dude.
Bombay Bicycle Club covers.
Yeah,
Right?
definitely.
It's gonna be awesome.
It is. You're gonna have some like 50-year-old guys that are playing this.
Going
and, like,
way.
Yeah.
Da-da-da.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard a Phoenix song be covered before?
Like I've watched YouTube videos of other famous bands covering it.
Yeah.
I know that like one thing that was when I lived in Salt Lake, going to bars and hearing other people play songs that I liked that weren't just like bar songs. I'm like, oh yeah, people my age are bar age now. I'm around people who are my age, so you'll hear other things. I actually heard the Voids at a bar one time, and I didn't put them on, and that got me hyped. I don't know who put them on, and I can't remember where it was. But
There's Krungben is mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Especially
Well,
like
they're on NPR and shit.
NPR, TikTok. Everyone's TikTok and Instagram sounds are Krungbin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, Krungbin covers. I mean, that would be a little bit fucking crazier, but
Yeah.
I think it's harder to cover. I don't know. Maybe the payoff is a little less if the cover doesn't have a ton of vocals in it or like lyrics, right? Maybe less coverable.
Yeah, but do you think like a fucking Tequila cover wouldn't rip?
Is that a song?
Yeah, Tequila.
Oh, right. Sorry, I thought you were talking about Krungbin still.
Okay.
Oh, yes, no, so sorry. I'm just thinking
Krungbin covered Tequila, please. We need it.
You know what?
Go to a
Marley,
Krungbin concert.
please.
Tequila.
Their cover of it would fucking rip.
It was.
What if we work on that maybe this weekend during some free time?
Getting Krungbin to cover.
No. How would Krungbin cover the song Tequila? And how could we, what would our interpretation of that be? I'm willing to give it a
Us
shot.
covering Krungbin covering Tequila.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damn.
The drums would be really crazy. They'd be much crazier.
Tequilaception.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Like Krungbin's drummer is like notoriously like understated.
But I think there's something to be said for that
How do
because
you
that
cover-
guy is a fucking monster.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah.
But-
What were you gonna say?
I don't know.
Oh, I think that
Tequila.
Tequila.
I think that physical media really started to go downhill after Playboy stopped doing nudes.
Yeah, right.
I think that was truly the beginning of the end.
Well, that's when they switched over to digital. You know,
Yeah.
the internet killed.
Internet killed the magazine star.
Tequila.
Well, I had a question that you like from you bringing up that Krungbin like was kind of bigger now. Does anyone have any bands that they kind of like they were into them when they were smaller and now they've like gotten bigger and known that they kind of I don't know if they're proud about or whatever.
Yeah. Shaky Graves maybe. Probably. Meg was in way before even I was. But he's like doing cool shit right now.
Was she in before Audio Tree?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? So like that's fucking nuts.
That's like
yeah. I guess to say like I liked a band before and like you found them on Audio Tree is a crazy way.
Yeah,
but like
well, Shaky Graves specifically, his session put him and Audio Tree on the map. Like it was
that first session. I'm thinking about it, I just got chills thinking about it.
Yeah, it's so
fucking good.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other bands. I mean,
It's hard to say, right? Like first studio album, like they're a professional band at that point. So if you found them at that point, even if they didn't get big, right? Like, is that really like they're already professional musicians?
I don't know about that.
Well, I mean, that's if they had an album paid for by a record label, right? At that point, like even if, because there's a bunch of bands like that where it's like their first or second albums weren't super big hits and then they got bigger.
Right. Well, I mean, okay, when you're talking about a record label paying for it, are you talking about them paying for like the studio time? Because that's different from like them paying for the pressing of the record and the distribution and everything like that.
Well, I'm talking about having a record.
And
I'm talking about being signed.
there's a lot of bands that like they pay for their own record and then the studio or the label is the one that pays for
distribution
and pressings and all that stuff.
Well, that's if you're having a label doing distribution for you, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Like at that point, like
It's more
that
likely
kind of
that more people will find it.
yeah. I mean, like you're already being professional. So I don't really know, but like this isn't necessarily that. But Fun's first album, still I'll hold up to this day.
Yeah,
it's not really what I'm into, but like I was into it a lot when it first came out. Fire. And then second album. Ass, and it just continues to be.
That's the one that blew up though with
exactly.
We Are Young and whatever.
Yeah, and like, but their first album, I still hold on, or I still, hold on to that. It's a good album.
Nice. Patrick?
I don't know. I'm not that cool.
Okay,
Maybe
cool.
maybe Wolfpack. We were all kind of into Wolfpack.
Oh, yeah.
When they only had like a couple like 5-track EPs out before they like really blew up. So that's probably the best answer I have.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, well, what band did you listen to before it blew up on TikTok?
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's like the best gauge that I would have at this point. And it's like, technically I listened to Pine Grove before the Pine Grove Shuffle exploded on TikTok, right? But like, I found them at their third studio record. Like, that doesn't count.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really listen to them that much, but when I was doing reviews for this music blog, I interviewed Modern Baseball when they released their first album, Sports.
Nice.
Yeah, and then they ended up releasing their next albums and stuff like that, and then they blew the fuck up.
Yeah.
and now they're kind of like a kind of landmark, like staple band for that scene specifically during like the 2010s. So I think I talked to them probably around 2010, 2011.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I got into Arcade Fire with their second record.
Okay.
I guess
They're pretty. When was that released? Like 2005, maybe?
Yeah, right around there. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
My uncle showed them to me.
Nice.
It took me a long time to really appreciate what it was, but
Yeah.
I don't listen to bands that are popular now.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah. What bands are popular right now?
Mac DeMarco. I don't know, man.
Black Country, New Road,
Yeah.
Black Midi, some other Squid maybe.
Squid is sick.
Yeah, Squid is dope.
Squid
You
is
listen to
sick.
their new album?
I just watched their live sessions.
Oh, I have
Good album.
I have a screenshot of me finding a Lizzo song from 2016.
Yeah, she had a couple of like videos that like kind of went like medium viral, right?
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what it was. Maybe that's like the most famous person that I listened to before anyone else that I knew.
Wow, that's pretty
It was
crazy.
Lizzo 7 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
That's it. That's my final answer. I'm not gonna get any better than that.
Lizzo for 200.
Yeah. It was like April 24th, 2016.
Wow.
Yeah. All right.
I got a couple of things to talk about.
Perfect.
Okay, firstly, I wasn't here last week, but this is a bit I wanted to make back for last week. So Graham named the their email Soup Dealer right
That's
after
right.
Sleep Dealer.
That's
And
right.
here's some other bands that each picked Soup Dealer above, which I think is pretty impressive. Soup Biscuit, like Limp Biscuit.
Yeah.
Nice.
A Soup to Remember.
Oh, right.
Soup Garden. Run the Soups.
Oh, okay.
Delta Soup. Soup at the Disco.
Oh.
A Soup, D Soup, like ACDC.
Okay.
Yeah.
Black Soupeth, Guns and
Wait, no, Black Soup?
yeah, Guns and Soup. Eve
Guns
Soup
and Soup would do really well down here.
Yeah.
Frank Soup Natra. That's it.
Nice.
That's all of them.
Damn.
That's sick.
I like A Soup, D Soup.
Yeah.
How about the Soupy Boys?
Soupy Boys. Yeah, I knew there'd be some better ones. That's just what I came up with.
Yeah, those are good.
Soup, I watch you from afar.
Oh, okay, nice. And so I watch Soup from afar.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that is good. I like that bit a lot. That's
Thank
great.
you.
Yeah, that's
I know,
really
I was
good.
so
We
mad.
probably riff on that for like 20 minutes.
So last week
Soupies.
I ran we have a movie in the park that we do down here, and I was in charge of running it because I'm running it again next week. And
Schindler's List.
no, actually,
Tusk?
Please.
I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this. The movie Family Camp.
No.
No.
Okay, it is
Is that some like fucking John Cena joint?
no, but it is like legitimately like,
like it.
one of the worst movies I've ever seen, and like it's almost impressive. They hit every single possible trope that you can possibly hit. It's insane.
Nice.
And like, I don't know, in some ways, like, I'm sitting there watching it. It's like an hour and a half long movie, and you want to gouge your eyes out like 13 minutes into it, but you just are forced to keep on watching.
Yeah, you're trapped for another
And-
70 minutes.
Yeah, and it's just like, I don't know. It's impressive the fact that they can hit this many jokes and make a movie. Like, trying to make a movie this bad would be difficult to do, and they did it. And also, the other impressive thing is how many people in this town thought that was one of the funniest movies they've ever seen. They were dying, and it was just like, I have never felt so much shame just living here.
That's what did it for you, huh?
Yeah, it's just you hear the moms and the families just laughing in the background, and it's like, where do I live? What is this culture that are around here?
Yeah.
I don't know. But
No, that totally reminds me of. Did we talk about the guerrilla filmmaking challenge on the last podcast? Had it happened yet?
We need to talk about it.
yeah,
I
we
think.
should talk about that for
Because
sure.
I think
I can't remember if it.
I did it.
Go ahead.
Let's talk about it.
We need to talk about it.
Hey Shane, let's talk about it.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so well, you talking about people laughing at a terrible movie unfortunately reminded me of the summer edition of the guerrilla filmmaking challenge from FAMASU.
Yeah, FAMASU.
Yeah, shout out those
Electric
guys.
Theater.
Yeah, dude, shout out Adam Mass, shout out John Pugh. All the people that put it together.
Yep.
They're doing really, really cool stuff for the community. The Desertscape International Film Festival is fucking actually insane.
Legit, yeah.
So that was cool. But doing those challenges are always really tricky because I'm a bad writer, right? And I'll admit that, and it's okay. And so I always go into those challenges mostly just like trying to have fun. Like, am I making something silly or something like I'm having a good time? And the answer normally is no, right? I hit the fucking send button inside of the Gmail app on my phone, and immediately I'm just like filled with like dread and embarrassment.
What you
Oh,
gorilla
come
it,
on.
right?
Yeah.
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 Ape brain says you gotta do it.
But like this time around, it was a lot of fun, and it was the first time that I wasn't like immediately embarrassed by pressing the send button, right? And then even watching it in the theater was like still not embarrassed, which was great. But
That's awesome.
yeah, it was exciting, and I appreciate everything that all of you guys did to make that happen.
Because we acted in it.
Yeah, and I thought you guys
Yeah.
did a great job. But the problem is that none of the jokes landed. The only thing that anybody laughed at was when the ball hits the window.
Well, I think that the whole time you're watching it, at least this is for me, because that's when I laugh every time too, because you're watching it and you're like trying to figure out what's happening the whole time. And then at the end, you just realize, oh, it doesn't matter. It's just a funny little thing. And you go like, all right, let's go.
Yeah. It was the only thing anyone thought was funny.
No, that's
think
what I mean
that
by that. I
is-
think like there's a
that is
lot of funny
okay.
things throughout it that
Yeah.
aren't that like you're confused about like, wait, where does the joke hit? And at the end it hits.
Right,
then,
finally,
yeah.
like you get like a little bit of a build up. Anyway,
You don't think the 9/11 bag
Come on.
got in there?
I thought that was funny. I thought there was a bunch of really great stuff. But I understand that it's not outwardly in your face like, oh, I slipped and hit my balls funny, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever.
And that is
I
funny.
think you
It
should
is hilarious. Absolutely. Go ahead.
you should hang on to the style of thing you're creating at all costs.
I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
going to make sense eventually. So anyway, my movie placed dead center, right? It wasn't great, wasn't bad. And that's completely okay. It really is just like an exercise for me because like it looked beautiful. It absolutely
it
did.
really did. I love that you chose that bright yellow title.
Great. Thank
Text,
you.
yeah.
It looked incredible. And that's like my thing. It sounded okay.
Yeah.
And that's a little bit less my thing. And it didn't make any fucking sense. And that, of course, is the case because that is the worst thing that I can do.
Something I like about putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
Like I've done one guerrilla filmmaking challenge.
Yeah, you did one of the horror ones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was more fun than anything else. Like I wasn't expecting much. I knew someone else was going to win.
Yeah.
I knew it would be a fun creative outlet. And it wasn't great. Like it had almost no dialogue.
Which I
But
think was great.
I'm proud of Emily in that moment for choosing to make something then.
Yeah,
For sure.
definitely.
You know, even though I could probably figure out something better this year, you know.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
I think it was great though.
I'm still proud of it.
Yeah.
And you should be.
You should
And
be.
you should be proud of the stuff you've made.
I would agree with you.
yeah.
I watched some of the other submissions for it and everything, and like, yeah, I think like everyone's just having fun. It's not
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
serious. Everyone's just like kind of submitting what they can, just like, oh, we have 3 months to make a new thing, and then or however
1
often
month,
they have it.
yeah.
Yeah. Like yeah, I think it was great. I also one of the actors in one of the in one of the shorts, her daughter is actually going to be one of the pips that I
Oh, cool.
work with. Yeah, and it's
Sick.
interesting.
Nice.
But
Film
Can-
community.
Oh,
go ahead.
no, you need to finish. Then I'll
So
say my thing.
the final thought that I had is that shit that's just not funny is funny to people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And things that you would have to think about for even 1 single second is not funny.
You have to decide, are you making it for yourself
Yeah,
or are you making it for everyone else?
yeah,
And I have a feeling like making it for yourself is going to be more worth your while
yeah.
and attract like the fans that are meant to find you
Sure.
than
Yeah.
anything else.
No, definitely.
Big props.
Yeah. Thanks.
I feel like we need to do a mini fit check today
Oh,
because
yeah.
at least 2 of the members of this podcast are wearing some fits.
We're going orange today.
What are
Nice.
you wearing, Aqua?
So this is
Who are
my
you
Third
wearing?
Man Records hat
Oh, sick.
from Alec, Jack White. This is my Absolved shirt from the show.
Nice.
Very cool. These are my new orange pants that I bought because they're fancy. I saw Graham at Ross. Shout out Graham.
Oh, sick.
Here, my orange shoes. Because
They're not just orange; they're also green and yellow and red. They're
It's giving football.
yeah, I bought these so long ago. I've never gotten to wear them except for if I'm working out. So I'm really glad that I finally found an orange fit.
Wow.
it's
sick.
a great fit. And then Shane,
Yes. So I'm so excited to talk about this. So this shirt, I don't know if you can see it, Patrick, also. Go a little bit lower. It's 2 cowboys with their dicks touching, and it says "not gay,"
Yeah.
and it's from Meg, and I love this shirt. And it's the last day of Pride Month.
Yeah.
And so-
It's the last day. Pride
Did you-
Month. Yeah, Pride Month.
Yeah.
Did you say that she got one for herself too?
Yeah, Meg also has one. Yeah, so
Yay.
we're matchers,
Fuck yeah.
which is fun. And then today I got my new Doc Martens.
ooh, I was thinking those look
Nice.
very shiny.
Nazi,
Yeah.
Nazi stompers.
Yeah, absolutely. So they're the
Yep.
the 2-inch platforms, and
Nice.
I afterpaid
Fashion.
them, so it only cost me.
You're
I wanted
finally
them.
over 6 foot.
Well, I have been, but that's okay.
We love consumer debt here in this household.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they finally went on sale after a couple of years. I've been looking at them for a while, and there was some sort of a sale. They were like 30% off.
Nice.
So I was like, dude, if I don't get them now, I'm never going to get them unless there's another 30% off sale in the next 4 years or something.
What drew you to them?
Well, I like the color of the leather a lot. It's very dark in here, so it's hard to tell. But they're kind of a red leather, like a red brown, which I really like. And I think the platform's cool too.
Platform is cool. The material is cool. Like they're almost translucent around the corners.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I had I have 2 pairs of Docs. One pair I wore almost every single day for a couple of years, and like they are still wearable. And I think that my cost per wear
Durability.
on those shoes are like into like single digit cents at this point.
Well, isn't that like kind of one of their things? They're supposed to be really well made and
Yeah.
like durable. Yeah.
And in my experience, that is unbelievably true. So I thought, you know what, man, these are a little bit fancier, a little bit different, and they're probably not going to last as long, but I can get a good deal on them. I probably won't wear them as often because they're hard to drive in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine.
With the whole 2-inch thing makes it tough.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
They're
Would
sick.
you ever wear a pair of Adidas?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I wore some like Adidas indoor soccer shoes for a couple years.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, they're so fucking comfortable. It's crazy. They're also really good skate shoes too. So I've skated Adidas a bunch. I had like 1 pair of Nike Janowskis that I really liked. They were kind of a olive green. But I was gonna wear like sports brand shoes. It was gonna be Adidas every time.
That's how I feel. I mean, I
Yeah.
have a pair of Fila's right now, but I normally just wear Adidas. I can't wear leather shoes. My feet are too damn wide.
Right.
Outside the side of them.
And I don't have that problem,
Yeah.
fortunately, which honestly is great because it awards me the opportunity to wear almost whatever the fuck I want, which is really cool.
Yeah, I could never wear Toms.
Oh,
Is that-
right.
yeah, something. Yeah.
So, yeah, got some new shoes. Shout out, capitalism and consumer debt.
I'm
go.
wearing some socks of note. These are called Conscious Step socks. The Hank and John Green's sock company.
Oh, cool.
After I received my order of socks, I found out that only $1 per pair of socks goes to the like charity of choice,
The
which is
Greens
kind
are
of a bummer.
swindlers.
Hey, Emily,
I don't know.
don't forget to be awesome.
Isn't Hank Green a bi icon now officially? Right?
I don't know.
I think he has cancer.
Is he?
I think he.
One of them has
No,
cancer. I
there's a
can never
book.
tell.
There's a girl in The Fault Has Stars. The Fault in Our Stars. The Fault Has Stars.
Yeah, but I think.
but it's actually the other brother dies. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, Maddie loves John and Hank Green. Also, she's
Yeah,
big.
they're doing good things, and they're on TikTok, and I just happen to see a lot of their videos.
Also, you can have cancer and be bi.
Hang on, why
I
is he
know.
a bi icon? Is he bi?
That's what I thought. Didn't he come out like this
don't know.
month? I thought he came out as bi this month.
I don't know. I don't.
Hank
I don't
Green
keep
historians,
that
go ahead and
close
jump
of
in the
tabs
comments.
on Hank Green. Is it Hank or John?
I think it's Hank.
Hank.
Right.
Okay. I don't know. Why
I
are you
saw
asking me?
Maddie showed me a TikTok earlier today from Hank of him going through. So there's these new scientific reports that were released, and apparently like physics as we know it currently
yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
actually like work all the way. There's like certain things that just still don't add up. And
cool.
so they've created a new, I don't know if it's like a thing that they're able to actually test these things in.
Interesting.
What, do you know more?
So I've been hearing stuff about how they've like some like astronomical measurement organization has leveled up their game in a big way and have confirmed that like space-time is in waves. It's like a big bumpy space soup. And
Shout out.
like we've always had we've had like little hints about that, but like it's actually confirmed now, which was supposed to be a big announcement, but I don't think it's rocking anyone's world.
Well, so this is the big thing is that, so now we, with this new thing and with, I just kind of watched the video that he talked about it, but apparently we now have a device that can read the gravitational waves throughout history that we can see things. So we right now have light waves that we can read from about 400,000 years after the Big Bang. And they think that they might have gravitational waves from literally the Big Bang that they can read and look at, which is like insane. And it's literally like proving physics as we currently know it, or not wrong, but it's proving
Different.
it. Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
That's dope.
So shout out Hank and John Green. Don't forget to be awesome.
What do you got, Alec? I can't wait to hear it.
I was gonna say I have some gravitational waves
Yeah.
too, but
Yeah.
I couldn't figure out how to put the joke together.
I've got something.
Okay, yeah.
It's Supreme 69 seconds of soccer. Are we still doing 69 seconds?
Wait,
Hang on.
Alec, what did you have though?
Oh yeah. So I just have a tweet up here
Yeah.
that says, Twitter is surprised to learn that Hank Green is bi, but no one is more surprised than me, a person who Hank Green paid to tell him what being bi is like for his book. And then Hank Green.
You're screenshotting this for YouTube, right?
Yes, and Hank Green responded, and he said, "In fairness, I think your lived experience of bisexuality.
Bisexuality. It's when you play two different saxophones.
An alto and
a tenor, yeah.
In fairness, I think your lived experience of bisexuality probably has more relevance to the character in question than my experiences, which include watching Wreck-It Ralph cosplay TikToks a little longer than you'd expect and trying to kiss a boy in 1997. So
He's an ally.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
he's
and a bicon.
yeah.
And he interviews people with lived experience for books he's writing. That's cool.
That's awesome.
I don't know. That's funny. That's funny as fuck. Good find.
Yeah.
Okay.
He really
Fucker.
he really wants to hank off a guy.
I'm gonna hank you so hard.
Hank and John Green you.
I'm gonna hank you till you're green in the face.
Hank your John till you're green.
Wait, Max, what did you say?
She Hank on my John till I green. Okay, that's what I hoped for.
I couldn't, because I was gonna say that, but I wanted to make sure that it wasn't what you said.
My
Yeah.
face and body hurts right now. That was so funny.
Okay, all right, let's do this.
Your
Let's do this.
time starts now.
Okay, welcome to Supreme 60 Seconds of Soccer. Let's go.
I did 69 seconds.
69 seconds. Firstly, Real Salt Lake changed the name of your stadium. Okay, moving on. Since the last time I was on, RSL has gone undefeated in 4 games. Let's fucking go.
my
They drew
God.
0-0 with NYCFC, won 2-1 versus at DC United, won 3-1 versus St. Louis, and drew 2-2 with Minnesota. We are playing so well right now, and we're still adding to the squad. Chicho and our newest signing, Nelson Palacio. Nelson Palacio, the 22-year-old Colombian midfielder, joins from Atletico Nacional in Colombia for $800,000. So welcome to RSL, Nelson.
$800,000?
Thank you for joining the eventual 2023 Open Cup champions. Pancho Macaroni strikes again, the soon-to-be greatest manager in MLS history, and I have never said anything different, despite what previous episodes of this podcast may say. Pizza Matchbox 20, Porco Minestrone, Pasta Mascherano, peppa marinara, Marsha pepperoni, meatball pine tree, Morthal purple pony, monkey parchment paper, Mr. Pinto bean, macho pizza Tony pizza, monster Papua New Guinea.
Your time's up. Your time's up.
Be quiet. God damn.
Oh man.
Wow.
I wish I could remember any of those.
Mr. Pinto Bean was my favorite.
I also like pizza Matchbox 20.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So no
Yeah.
one got any points last time because RSL drew 0-0 with NYCFC.
What the fuck? What do you mean I didn't get any points?
You weren't on.
Oh.
Yeah.
You idiot.
Did I
but
get any?
This week, no, 0-0. So we all guessed a win. Okay, this
Hang
time
on.
we got.
You can get 0-0. It could. No one just scores anything, and people buy tickets
Okay,
for
okay.
that.
The mindset behind this is basically this: you go on, you play, and it's not guaranteed that you score. That's why scoring is such a big deal because it can end up 0-0.
I
Also, a
appreciate
0-0
this aspect of soccer, but man,
For sure. Well, okay.
it's a
The other thing is
paradigm
also
shift,
this:
that's for sure.
not all teams are created equal, right? One team is better than another team like 90% of the time. So a 0-0 draw is a good result for one team and a bad result for another team every time, right? That's the thing with draws is they add in that extra thing. So okay, Alec, a prediction for RSL versus Toronto. Just to let you know, RSL hasn't lost on the road in like 3 months, and we haven't won at home in like 2 months.
That's why I'm going 3-2 RSL, baby.
Okay, and we're on the road, yeah. RSL. All right, Emily.
I'm gonna do RSL wins 2-1.
2-1 RSL. Shane.
10, lots of fun.
10,
And we're gonna
10,
have a
lots of
good
fun.
time playing the football.
Yeah.
I love that song. We should write that. That's on the Bumpy album.
Yeah,
Patrick.
copyright it.
Do they still call it football in Canada?
I've never thought about what they call it in Canada. Holy shit, probably.
Yeah,
In Quebec, they call it
feel like they
football.
probably
everywhere
would.
else.
I feel like
Yeah.
my cousins, when they were taunting me growing up at family reunions, telling me they did dog sledding and had parkas and lived in igloos and had no gun violence in their country.
Your cousin's gloating.
They bring it up every fucking
Oh.
time we see each other. That's
gonna
probably
go
something
to-
they snuck in there.
Gonna go up to
I thought
Canada
it's
just to
football.
cause some gun violence. So my cousins stop making fun of me.
No.
For that reason alone, I'm gonna say Toronto 2-1.
2-1 Toronto. Okay, and I'm just gonna say a nice little 1-0 RSL. Thank you.
Oh, we woo,
very
woo,
much.
woo.
All right, welcome back. We're going into the watch of the week. Fuck
Yeah.
Alec, this is my job now.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's right.
This episode's
Dethroned.
watch of the week is Joe Pera Talks With You,
Yeah.
Season 1, Episode 2. Joe Pera takes you to breakfast.
Yum,
Wow,
yum, yum,
Joey.
yum.
Joey Jojo. Patrick chose this episode.
Yeah, this was my recommendation. I really like Joe Pera. Max introduced him to me, and I have become a big fan. This is probably the show that I've actually watched the most because the episodes are all so short. You can watch them so quickly.
They're like 11, 12 minutes.
Yeah, right. They're all like 10 to 12 minutes. You can get through them so quickly.
Wow.
And it's just so feel good, so wholesome, heartwarming. Anytime I just want to feel better, I can just throw it on. Or if I want to doze off gradually, perfect show. So I've seen this conservatively like 40 times.
Oh my God.
And what about liberally?
42.
So he's probably seen it 41 times.
Yeah.
So libertarianly, it'd be 41.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think libertarians should be right in this sense.
Thank you for saying that.
So
Yeah.
Joe Pera's like whole deal is that he's like a 20-something-year-old guy that acts like he's like 85.
Yeah, kind of.
He like walks slowly and he kind of like crouches and he talks like an old man.
And
He's got like a really stiff posture, like an old fucking farmer.
Yeah.
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 So this is the only episode of Joe Pera I've watched.
Oh,
I know. I want to watch more. Well, we started watching the Iron one. Was he raised on
Amish.
Amish? Was this character raised Amish, or was that just a joke one of the Breakfast Club members said?
Yeah, I've never understood that joke. I think the joke is that it doesn't really make sense and then it comes out of nowhere because, yeah, it never says anything about him being Amish.
So Joe Pera was originally a character on like Comedy Central, like a random thing, and he'd have random reoccurring things. And then he got this show with HBO. So I think things like that, like it's a character, it's not necessarily like a person that has defined things. So I think they can kind of make up random traits like that just for the joke.
I feel like if he was raised in the Amish community, it would make sense for the character if that was his background.
Yeah.
I thought it was just that guy busting his balls because that was his whole thing.
It was his
Yeah.
whole thing.
Right. So
Yeah.
I just took it as like something mean to say that like is funny when you have it fall out of your mouth.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So Patrick,
That's kind of how I took it too.
Yeah.
why'd you choose this episode?
I think it's a good representation of the show as a whole. The first episode that I saw, the one that Max showed me, was the church announcements one, which is also really good. It was up there with the ones that I was considering. I think this one is, I don't know, it's kind of a little bit more about Joe and the side characters, and it just has a really wholesome feel to it. And I really like the music in it and pancakes.
Yeah.
So that's good.
It feels real cozy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And it also has Connor O'Malley at his least deranged.
What?
Is jarring.
Yeah.
This is the egg bite, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Egg bite. Yeah.
What's
The
it
perfect
called?
egg
The
bite.
perfect egg bite. That's what it is.
And
yeah.
he wrote this episode, by the way.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
He's
that.
credited at least as writing it.
Yeah, he writes most of my favorite episodes, honestly.
Connor O'Malley's one of those guys who like just pops up randomly in shows, and you're like, oh yeah, let's go.
That guy.
Yeah.
I love Connor O'Malley. So he had like this video on Instagram that I saw forever ago, and it was when he was talking about like some sort of presidential election and who he was voting for, and I forget exactly who he was talking about, but one of the lines in it, he's like, and he's gonna give everybody a Buick Enclave, and like how Buick Enclaves are the official car of swingers.
Nice.
And obviously this is not funny to just explain it, but every time I see a Buick Enclave now, I think of Connor O'Malley screaming about how Buick Enclaves are the official car of swingers.
Yeah. He had this whole series that I saw on Twitter.
It's like Subarus and lesbians.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly that. Yeah.
Connor O'Malley had like a whole series on Twitter of these videos where he like slowly devolved further and further into chaos, where he
Yes.
was like, I don't remember who he supported. Like, I don't feel like he was supporting Trump. I feel like he was supporting like Joe Biden or something.
No, it was like some dude from the town that he was in.
or like John Kasich or something
Something like
where
that,
he's just
yeah.
like, yeah. He's like, vote for me. I want you to be president. You want to be president? And he just like gets crazier and crazier. Yeah.
My first.
Have you seen his River talk show thing?
That's what I was about to talk
No.
about. That was my first encounter, is him drowning in a river and trying to deliver the news.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's such
That's
a funny
good.
bit.
That's
yeah,
good.
Connor O'Malley's good.
Yeah.
Howard Schultz.
Howard Schultz. That's who it is. Of course. Yeah. Perfect.
Was that CEO of Starbucks?
Yes, I think so.
I don't know.
I don't know. Union busting motherfucker.
Howard Schultz.
Well, I have a question. He goes and talks to this breakfast crew.
Yeah.
And I wanted to figure out who each of us are in that breakfast crew.
I'm gonna.
Max is the political junkie.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
obvious one.
I think I'm the mild mannered, keeping the conversation on track one.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
And my hobby is sitting down.
Yeah. Shane, are you the one that busts balls?
I think that yeah.
Maltrick or something like that?
Yeah.
Whatever his name was.
If for better or for worse.
Timrick.
Timrick.
Yeah, for better or for worse, I would say yes.
Yeah. Pat, who are the remaining two?
There's sex appeal.
Yeah, sex appeal and the sports guy.
Fuck. Aqua might be the sports
Yeah,
guy.
Aqua might be the sports
Aqua's
guy.
the sports guy and the political guy.
Shit.
Dual personalities.
I would say maybe I'm kind of the sports guy, I guess, because I feel like if Shane is the ball buster, then I think Alec is definitely the sex appeal.
Oh, thank you. I don't know. Patrick, you might be the sex appeal.
We can have two sex appeal members.
we got two sex appeal.
We've got one person that is the political junkie and the news guy, so we have two sex appeals left over.
Yeah.
That's my brand in real life too. That's not even just these characters.
No. You do like sitting down.
I do. I really do.
Yeah. So he's a choir teacher.
Yeah.
The kids are so respectful of him. Mm-hmm. They really quiet down when he starts to talk. What, am I wrong? Do they
No,
revolt?
you're exactly right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of unreasonable, honestly. Like, that's the kind of teacher that would probably like kill themselves teaching middle school in real life.
But he gives them a Green Apple Award.
Yeah.
What a shitty fucking gift.
But so like classic teacher, like this actually
It's just a motherfucker who's out of touch. It's just a dude who's completely out of touch.
yeah. What's he gonna do? Give him an iPad?
I don't. You're right. I don't know.
He's on a teacher's salary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I haven't watched the whole thing, but it sounds like obviously, Patrick, you have. A big thing about this show seems to be just the general wholesomeness of Joe Pera. Does it ever get dark? Like, is there ever like this hidden darkness there?
Yeah, there's like a span of a few episodes in toward the end of the second season. His grandma dies. So there's a few episodes that are kind of dark there. But it's always like, I don't know, it never feels very depressing. It's just kind of like he's dealing with something kind of heavy.
Right.
And then
it's
the third season is kind of about him and like his relationship, and it feels a little more serious, but it's not like dark or anything.
Okay. But it's never like it turns out that he's like got some dark side or something, or
No, definitely not. He's a pure guy.
okay.
I think no one has talked about this yet, but one of my favorite jokes in the whole thing is some kids pranking him by putting a for sale sign in front of his house, and then him being like, do you have
I guess I have to honor it.
Do I have to sell my house?
That was in the first episode. This is the second episode.
Oh, I thought this was.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought this was okay.
Yeah.
No, not. But that's a good bit.
It is.
Yeah.
I really liked when he got like distracted looking at the desserts.
That was one of my
Yeah.
Yeah.
He like totally goes off track, and it is beautiful, and like a turning table set of layered tables of desserts.
Yeah.
I think something that this show does really, really well is having really small jokes. Like when he's watching the cake spin around and he's like, I wanted to take this time to explain or answer the question of what's the difference between a family diner and a restaurant or something.
Yeah.
And he's like, at first it seemed so simple, but the more I thought about it, the more blurred it became. And it's like, what are you even talking about?
Yeah. Well, then then at the very end of that, he says, but like a lot of things in this world or something like that.
Right, yeah.
You know, which made it feel like he's talking about like just the world in general becoming more gray and kind of difficult to distinguish.
Yeah.
There's something that he says near in the first half. It's like he says a word differently, or like a different version. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Is it when he's talking about nanners and cereal?
Oh, that's so good though.
Nanners and cereal is great, but it's not that.
I love that, man.
Yeah, nanners and cereal is really good. I know what you're talking about. I can't think of what it is.
Do you think they have the script for it?
I don't know. One thing I did like though, when he is looking at the desserts and he's like, as an adult, you can eat dessert for breakfast, but also as an adult, you have to choose to make good decisions.
Right. Yeah.
I was like, that's like that's the kind of wholesome, like true life thing that I don't know. I liked it.
So one thing back to that, where he's like, you as an adult, you can eat whatever.
Yeah.
He did order a fucking Sprite with his breakfast.
Yeah, he did.
Which is an insane choice.
A warm Sprite.
You know what that reminds me of is dozens of times going to breakfast to Jazzy's with Tyler and him getting a can of root beer for his drink with his breakfast, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Root beer, donuts, classic.
Yeah.
Wake up, root beer. Sit down, root beer.
Not this episode, but my favorite episode of this. It's at the end of this season, and it's where Joe Pera discovers Baba O'Reilly by The Who for the first time.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah,
you've seen that.
That is, I showed it to you. One of like it's just such a funny idea. Just
Yeah.
discovering Bob O'Reilly for the first time and just like getting obsessed with it, and everyone else
Yeah.
knows the song already, so they're like,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the other ones I was considering. I think that one has some of the most like wholesome vibes to it. Like him and the pizza man just dancing around. It's like, fuck yeah, I love this song. Like I don't know. I think that's something that's really special about this show. There's like a market that nobody is really in right now of this like wholesome kind of PG comedy that is still like really good.
Yeah. It's funny as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it does feel like the majority of the jokes emanate from just the fact that you're like, why is he being an old man? And like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like if you actually took this character at face value, like if you actually thought that, I don't think it'd be funny. You know what I mean?
well, it's also one of those shows that like sometimes you're kind of watching it and like it's not necessarily funny until the funny thing happens, and then it goes like, that's really funny, and then it's just
Yeah.
kind of happening and it's nice to watch.
Yeah. Like I feel like you could show this to a kid and they wouldn't really find it all that funny.
Mm-hmm.
You know? They'd be like, okay, this is
Yeah.
fine.
Well, it's
He's like a Mr.
Sorry.
Roger.
damn it. Yes.
Yes.
It's I was gonna say it's giving Mr. Rogers and like Nathan Fielder.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah. Oh fuck.
that's
Yeah.
one of the cool things is that
Nathan
like
Rogers.
he's
Yeah.
obviously friends with all the other people who are good and with
Mr. Fielder.
yeah, Nathan Fielder, Connor O'Malley,
Yeah.
and at least Connor O'Malley's friends with Tim Robinson. You know what I mean?
Right,
But like,
yeah.
there's this crossover that also is like kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and like, you know, I think it's pretty obvious that this is, you know, very clearly a persona, and
Yeah.
like he's just a guy, and like I wonder what he's like, and like I wonder what his kind of jokes are like and his style of interacting, because he still plays this character even when he does like talk shows, right?
stand up,
like as
Yeah.
he should, as he absolutely should. It's a great bit, and you know, I'm sure that being in that though, you're kind of like, this is who I'm just gonna be. Like I've you know, I've found my niche, but I've also nailed myself into this coffin of this is the kind of humor that I'm making.
You'd think at some point he's probably going to have to move on from it in some way.
Yeah.
You know, just from how comedy works.
Yeah, he's gonna get into porn.
Yeah, exactly.
He's
Yeah.
been carving out his space. He's been like a 20, 30-year-old guy acting like an old guy. He's going to age into his role.
that's
That's
gonna
a
be
good
him.
point.
He's
Well, it's-
actually
it's-
really smart.
He's gonna have to be 114.
He keeps getting older and older. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to talk about production a little bit.
yeah.
It looks beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It looks
Yeah.
really, really, really good.
Yeah.
And the opening shot of all the food
Yeah.
is great.
Mhm.
It's like borderline montage.
Yep.
But it isn't quite, because it's just like the same shot, same placement, just like new piece of food, right?
Yeah.
And to introduce, so I've wanted to watch this show for a very long time. I didn't know what it was. And it was specifically because of Connor O'Malley's fucking egg bite.
Yeah.
But I don't know
Yeah.
where the fuck to find it. But I saw just that portion of it.
Like just a clip of that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so when Connor O'Malley showed up and I'm watching it, I was like, oh, no way, Connor O'Malley. And I was like, oh my God, this is the fucking show. So I was really excited. I didn't know what it was. So I was, when I realized that, I was fucking thrilled to have finally found this. And I'm going to watch some more of it tonight. There's no way I'm not going to.
Yeah.
But the opening shot is so good. I love that. But then the follow shot of him starting
Oh
outside,
my God, that's so
and then
sick,
coming into the diner, the audio change is fucking so clean because it's obviously some either overdubbed while he's outside or he's got some sort of like a
He's probably got a lav.
right? That would make sense. But then from him going from a lav to then him being inside, there's like not anything obvious, and it's like the audio production on that side
Yeah.
is like. That's such a fucking technical move to have to pull off. And they did an incredible job of it.
Yeah.
So that was really great. But just that track shot of him starting outside, coming in, it was so smart. I think it really did a good job of like setting the tone of like, you have this like really interesting, inviting sort of like wholesome vibe to the whole thing, but he is like physically separated. And there is this like this energy of being separated, like just away from other people because of the character itself,
Yeah,
right?
it like you saying it like that. I mean, it kind of is like the Mr. Robbins, or wait, what's his name?
Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Rogers Robinson. Yeah, Mr.
Yeah.
Rogers, right? Where like it is that like kind of separation thing. That's interesting.
Yeah.
He's like part of the community. People recognize him, know him by his first name.
Yeah, that's cool.
He's a teacher for, the kids.
but something
But
still feels
he's
disjointed.
Like, there's a barrier
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
So
it's an interesting character.
So it's cool to have that like physically represented in that first shot of like him in it.
yeah.
I think I don't know. That's how I
that.
took it at least.
Yeah.
So
I got one production thing that I wanted to bring up, which is that when Connor is putting together the egg thing,
the fake slow mo
the slow mo,
Yes.
where it's like they filmed it
at
in-
24.
24, and then slowed it down. It does
Uh-huh.
that. And so there's a couple options there about why that is the case.
It's funny. Probably number one.
One is that could have been a completely artistic choice, right? They could have just done it because they thought that'd be funny, because it'd be like that. The second thing that they could have done is that they filmed it. They were planning on doing it just in normal speed, and then like
The cut didn't
One
work.
of the takes was just like too fast, and they're like, "Well, we have to slow it down." Like, well, since we slowed this down, we have to slow all of them down.
Yeah. I would like to believe that it's a creative choice because you also have that text that shows up at the same time with it, and it feels very much different than like everything else, and I think that it's meant to emphasize what
How
is
important
happening.
this is.
Right.
I love that he's describing it and he's been perfecting this method.
Yeah,
But he's still
yeah.
like getting butter on his fingers when he's like spreading it.
He's
Or
not
like
good
the
at it yet.
purple jam.
The purple jelly.
jam.
Yeah.
Purple jelly.
You mean grape?
Every time I get eggs with my breakfast, I reference the perfect egg bite. It's just such a funny idea. Just like, I don't know.
I did something like that just before even seeing this. I don't put the jam on it, but I do try and like stack the eggs on the toast.
Fucking have to.
Yeah.
You have to put jelly on your egg sandwiches.
Oh, you think so?
I've been doing that shit for fucking.
Is it like the sweet, salty thing?
dude? It's it's unbelievable. I've been doing that-
It rocks your world.
yeah, I've been doing that shit for like 18 years.
Wow.
How do
Okay.
you think avocado would do with that? Like
Bomb. That sounds
toast. Does it have to be rye bread?
Well, as long as it
Toast,
has the right density, it'd be good to
butter.
go, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
purple jelly, avocado,
Yeah.
Yeah.
ketchup. Do you have to put ketchup? Ketchup, egg.
I think that I would sub if you're gonna do avocado for sure. I would sub the ketchup for like a hot sauce
Yeah.
instead,
Yeah.
especially
That'd
with
be
the
yummy.
avocado too. I
A
think that would
spicy
really
purple jelly.
Some hollandaise.
Spicy jelly. Yeah. There you go.
absolutely.
Yeah.
You can get some like jalapeno jelly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. One joke I really liked is when right at the beginning, it does the breakfast of the pancakes and the eggs and everything. And he puts in, it's like, that looks good enough to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like implying that it's not
Yeah.
real.
Which again is one of those jokes that like if you were just a kid, like that would not be funny at
No,
all.
right.
Yeah, I
Right.
think like the key word is it's dry. It's so dry, and it's funny.
And I think
because-
that's kind of the Nathan Fielder aspect, like in
Yeah.
the element
Yeah.
of it that I like attached it
Yep.
to.
yeah, where like it's not funny, but it's funny because it like they're doing things that are funny, but they're not portraying it as being funny.
Right.
almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like the bit where people are kind of guessing what he's going to eat. And Gene asks if he's going to have biscuits and gravy. And he's like, I appreciate that, but gravy makes me sleepy and I have to go to the bank later.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great bit. Yeah.
Being flattered by that is so fucking funny.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
or when they're talking about their breakfast group and he's like, it's like, what are your wives doing? He's like, there's this other breakfast group, and she's like, hi Joe, don't come talk to us.
Hi,
Yeah.
Joe. Thank you. Or she
Don't come
says it.
near me or something like that.
Yeah. Please don't come over here.
Yeah.
Don't come over here.
Yeah, something like that. I've
Yeah. The over easies and the pink grapefruits. Got a West Side Story over here.
it made me so fucking hungry.
I can't wait to make
real.
breakfast tomorrow morning.
I'm a fucking little freaky slut
For
Period.
night breakfast.
for biscuits and gravy.
Oh.
Yeah,
Man.
dude, me too.
And so when he said, I was like, oh man, I'm hungry. Breakfast sounds so good. And then he said, oh, Joe, you doing biscuits and gravy? I immediately fucking
were like,
blacked out and just was like, fuck.
Gravy on my biscuits.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say like breakfast at night because
I
that's
do-
kind of what I want right now.
I do love
is-
breakfast for dinner. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wait, sorry. Talking about biscuits and gravy, I also love biscuits and gravy. You ever
Hell
have
yeah.
the pile from Jazzy's?
Dude.
Oh.
Think
Did
about
I
that
ever
every
have the
goddamn
pile
day.
from Jazz?
Yeah. I want.
How dare you?
Describe in detail the pile.
Okay, eggs. I honestly, it's a pile of everything you could want. You put everything breakfast in a pile, and then I dump a bunch of hot
Okay,
sauce on
what
it.
else
and
was
then
in
I
it
eat
besides
Patrick,
eggs?
do you have specifics?
There's like hash browns, eggs. They would usually throw in like some peppers and onions and shit. And then the whole thing is topped with the fucking biscuit gravy.
Oh.
Yeah, it gave you diarrhea every time. It
The
was
best diarrhea you've ever gotten.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Pile in, pile out.
Yeah.
I'm just a type of guy. Like one thing I've learned, I thought that this was just a thing that for everyone, but I've learned like I love piles. If you give me like biscuits and gravy, just shit that I can put and I put
He's
it
a
all
pile
together.
guy.
I scoop it all up and just eat it like that.
Yeah.
Maddie is very much like it's got to be separate and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just I love
You like
food.
to integrate things.
Yeah, I love it when my entire plate is one meal. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
one
I,
dish.
I think that's like part of why I love going to Bombay so much. It's just like throwing everything in together.
Yeah, same with like barbecue, right? Where like
Yeah.
you're throwing just
Yeah.
a coleslaw
You got some
on
mashed
it, beans on it.
potatoes,
Yeah,
mac and
exactly.
cheese.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah, I'm definitely fucking putting that pulled pork in the mac and cheese with some coleslaw on top.
Oh,
Right,
yeah.
absolutely. I'm
Throw
going
it all
to.
together.
You go to like Honolulu or like one of the Hawaiian places, you like mix up the pork with like the
Yeah.
rice and the
Oh, yeah,
macaroni
of
and
course.
shit. It's the Wild West. There's no
Yeah.
rules.
Are there any like meals that specifically you keep separate?
Yes.
What?
So, beans and rice. I separate my rice and my beans.
You don't.
Whoa, why?
Whoa.
Yeah. And
What the fuck?
Yeah. It's like I don't want to say it's a problem, but like, but there's times.
I will. Those are definitely supposed to be mixed.
There's times where I'm separating them and my food gets cold.
Yeah, that's got to be tedious trying to move all that rice. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Are you
That's
like,
like,
putting up like walls between them, like creating like small like bean or rice
Build
societies?
the wall.
well, depending on the kind of food that I'm doing, there's some sort of a barrier that I could put between them,
see,
right?
yeah.
But a lot of times it's just in a bowl, and I'm like trying to scrape each to the side, and they keep falling in because it's in a bowl, and so I keep scraping it, and then I'll take a bite, and then because I took that bite, some falls down like an
Yeah.
avalanche, right? And then I got to separate them again, and then take a bite
Yeah.
of beans, and
So
Yeah.
is it
You're
a texture
terraforming
thing?
your plate.
no,
Yeah.
I it's like a mental illness thing. I don't.
I see.
I
I see.
It's some sort of undiagnosed thing, probably. Yeah.
I would say like a fruity dessert, like a fruity Jello or something like that. I keep away from like the kind of the savory foods like during Thanksgiving dinner or something like that.
That's what I would. Yeah, right.
To get like a roll wet with Jello.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
give me a wet roll.
I'm not that crazy.
You can't mix.
I don't
the
know. You
frog
don't
eye
like getting
salad.
like the cranberry sauce up in with like your stuffing and your mashed potatoes and shit at Thanksgiving? You don't fuck with that?
No.
Cranberry sauce is different than Jello, Patrick. Don't you dare for 1 second think that they're the same.
Yeah,
fucking
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
It's the
Yeah, no, I'm talking like frog eye salad. You don't mix frog eye salad with the gravy, right?
Or
It's
the
like all
stuffing.
the savory stuff goes together. Yeah, but like the sweet stuff. Yeah.
yeah.
The fact that you would name it
Okay.
frog eye salad is scary.
It's a Mormon thing, isn't it?
They look like frog eyes.
I know.
Don't
I was
frog eye
Mormon.
salad.
Yeah, I had a classic Vine series back in the day where I kept on walking around the house and just the frog eye salad would pop up and dope ass frog eye salad. What are you doing here?
Yeah.
Do you have access to those videos still?
Dude, I've tried so bad. Vine locked that shit down.
Oh, it's too bad. I'm sure someone saw it,
It's a
loved it, and
shame.
saved it.
Patrick, he's my only
Yeah,
fan.
someone's gonna be like, "This was my childhood."
Yeah.
The frog eye
that,
salad
that was
guy.
hands down the best thing I ever saw on Vine.
That's so sick. Yeah, dude, the nanners and cereal fucked me up so much
Yeah.
because I call them nanners too.
Do you put nanners in your cereal?
I don't eat cereal,
Okay.
but if I did, yes.
I see.
Is that a milk thing?
The only
Why don't you eat cereal?
yeah.
It might be related to like the trauma of childhood and like have the only food in our house for weeks at a time
Yeah.
being cereal.
I see.
It's like I hate cereal.
Yeah, well, I have it's the same thing that I have with peanut butter too. I've had a lot of like spoonful of peanut butter lunches,
Yeah.
out of necessity.
Yeah.
And like so, there's like these things from childhood for whatever reason. I love cottage cheese. I love eggs, and I love
yeah.
breaded chicken patties.
Oh, do you eat that for breakfast?
What? All of those things
Yeah,
combined?
yeah.
Dude, fucking, if you want to talk about a great breakfast, the wire elephant from Jazzy's, which was eggs, sausage, cottage cheese, and avocado.
Yo.
And it's like fucking you're going to the gym. Like
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
breakfast for you, right?
That's sick.
Yeah, I love cottage cheese for breakfast. Absolutely,
I
would.
love cottage cheese too.
Yes,
It blows me away that it's not like really bad for you. It feels like it's supposed to be bad
good
for you.
you.
it's
in
pretty much
fact.
good for you,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
so crazy.
Give me-
loved cottage cheese.
Yeah.
And cream and sour cream.
Do you still?
Lactose intolerance
Yeah.
has taken me by
Dude,
storm.
So back to the milk thing. I don't drink milk. We actually having our own house is awesome because the only kind of milk we have is oat milk or almond milk, which is fucking sick. Because
Did you know you can make your own oat milk?
really?
Yeah,
and
but
it's
that's
so
like
fucking
a whole,
cheap.
Oh, I thought it was like a whole process.
That might be true,
You
but it
just
could still
get
be
like
cheap.
a cheesecloth or whatever kind of.
An oat cloth, yeah.
Yeah. All you need is a blender, water, oats, and a cheesecloth and a vessel to put it in.
Wow.
In a fucking dream, and you're good to go.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't even have to dream about it beforehand.
Wait, so you don't drink milk, but not out of like a lactose intolerance thing?
It's a lactose intolerance.
Oh, it
thing.
is? Okay,
yeah, I
okay.
can't have ice cream. The big thing for me, I think, more than it's even a lactose thing, I think it's a sugar thing. I think my body has a really hard time processing sugar specifically.
Okay.
So you combine that with lactose, and like ice cream is like the worst shit I could possibly eat, or like really yummy coffees.
Okay.
If it's not with an oat milk, like I will be out of commission.
Mm.
So those two combined specifically is just so like cereal with real milk would be absolutely
Oh,
worse.
yeah, game
Right,
over.
right.
Mm.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
put sugar in milks too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I get like sweetened almond milk, but it's the lactose and sugar combined that's always the
Double whammy.
Exactly
as they say.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You think it'd be like a two negatives cancel out positive, and it's
If
not,
you're-
it's
Nope.
double negative.
If you're eating Ben and Jerry's ice cream, you could say it's double penetration.
Benegeration.
Yeah.
She bends on my Jerry.
Should be, of course, until I cream. Yes. Yeah. She bends on my Jerry until ice cream.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, that one made like my side actually hurt. Like, it's
Like-
causing me pain
Yeah.
to be joyful right now.
Hey, well, what do y'all think we should name this podcast episode?
She hank on my John till I green. I think that'll get us a lot of hits. I think a lot of people will be looking for that.
We could maybe tag them.
Here's the thing, man. I love that idea.
Done. It's done. Going once, going twice.
Yeah.
Done.
Follow us on Instagram, Bumpy Soup, Twitter, Bumpy Soup, TikTok, Bumpy Soup. It's actually Bumpy Soups on Instagram. I'm so sorry. But Facebook, Bumpy Soup. We're everywhere. We're on IndieFlix.
Get it.
We're on Patreon. We got a new album coming out sometime
right.
soon.
That's right.
Episode 3 coming kind of soon.
Yeah.
Things in the works. Hey,
Keep your
thank
eyes
you.
peeled.
Thank you so much for joining us for the Bumpy Soup podcast.
Oh,
Whoa, damn
I
it.
end this with a joke. I just realized earlier today, if someone ever like watches Good Show and they're like, "Yo, that was total BS," we can be like, "Bumpy Soup."
Yeah, bump it up.
Okay,
So
bye.
Bye-bye.
Shout out Cuckolds.
Much better shout out today.
I was like, I'm not done.